Listen, I need to tell you something that might shock you. Age is not the reason you're losing your hair. I know everyone tells you it's just a natural part of getting older, but that's not the whole truth. Research shows that an iron deficiency is actually one of the top 3 reasons for hair loss, and it has nothing to do with how many candles are on your birthday cake. Now, I recently talked about vegetables that can help with this problem, but today I want to share something even more practical. I'm going to tell you about 3 specific nuts that you can easily snack on throughout the day. Nuts that have helped thousands of people grow hair even in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. These aren't expensive supplements or complicated treatments. They're simple foods that you probably walk past in the grocery store every week. But before we get into these 3 powerful nuts, I need to warn you about 2 foods that are secretly destroying your hair follicles right now. Even if you start eating these beneficial nuts, these 2 common foods will sabotage all your efforts. One woman ate cashews and pistachios religiously for 4 months and saw absolutely no improvement until we discovered what she was still eating. The moment she stopped consuming these 2 harmful foods, her hair started growing back within 6 weeks. So stay with me until the end because I'll reveal exactly what these 2 foods are and why they're so damaging. Let's start with the first nut that can transform your hair. Cashews are naturally cholesterol-free, which makes them incredibly healthy, especially as we get older. They're also easy to chew and digest, which is important because many people avoid nuts thinking they're too hard on their teeth or stomach. But here's what makes cashews truly special for hair growth. They contain 6 to 7 milligrams of iron per serving and 18 grams of protein. These are 2 essential building blocks for growing hair. They also pack in other hair-building vitamins like healthy fats, zinc, magnesium, copper, and biotin. Now you might be wondering why iron is so critical. When you have low iron, your hair goes through a devastating process. It starts thinning first, then you notice more hair falling out when you brush or shower. Your hair regrowth slows down dramatically, and the hair that does grow becomes brittle and weak, breaking off easily. The tricky part is that many people don't realize they're suffering from iron deficiency. As we age, our bodies absorb iron less efficiently. Our stomach acid decreases, certain medications interfere with absorption, and our appetites often decrease, meaning we eat less iron-rich foods overall. But cashews offer something beyond just iron. They're incredibly rich in vitamin E, and this is where things get really interesting. Vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant that improves blood circulation to your scalp. Think about what this means. More oxygen and nutrients reach your hair follicles with every heartbeat. This increased blood flow helps repair damaged follicles that have been struggling or dormant. It reduces oxidative stress that causes premature aging of your hair, and it creates the ideal environment for new hair growth to begin. Vitamin E also helps balance oil production on your scalp. Too little oil and your scalp becomes dry and flaky. Too much oil and your follicles get clogged and hair growth stops. Vitamin E keeps everything in perfect balance. There was a fascinating study published in the journal Tropical Life Sciences Research back in 2010. Researchers took 38 volunteers who were experiencing hair loss and gave them vitamin E supplements for 8 months. The results were remarkable. The participants who took vitamin E saw their hair count increase by 34.5% compared to people who took a placebo. The researchers concluded that vitamin E's antioxidant properties helped reduce oxidative stress in the scalp, which is one of the major contributors to hair loss as we age. Now let me give you 3 simple ways you can add cashews to your daily routine starting today. The first is incredibly easy. Take 1 cup of raw cashews and blend them in a food processor with half a cup of pitted dates, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed for extra omega-3s, and a pinch of cinnamon. Roll this mixture into small balls and refrigerate them. Eat 2 to 3 balls as a mid-morning or afternoon snack. These energy balls give you sustained energy throughout the day. They satisfy sweet cravings naturally without any processed sugar, and they deliver a concentrated dose of iron, protein, and vitamin E all at once. The second recipe is a creamy cashew smoothie. Soak a quarter cup of cashews overnight in water. In the morning, drain them and blend with 1 ripe banana, a cup of unsweetened almond milk, a tablespoon of honey, and a handful of spinach for extra iron. This smoothie is not only delicious but also incredibly gentle on your digestive system. The soaking process makes the cashews easier to digest, and increases the bioavailability of their nutrients, which means your body can absorb more of the iron and vitamins instead of just passing them through. The third recipe is cashew-crusted salmon. Chop half a cup of cashews and mix them with a tablespoon of olive oil, minced garlic, and fresh herbs like parsley or dill. Press this mixture onto salmon fillets and bake at 375 degrees for 15 to 18 minutes. The combination of iron-rich cashews with omega-3 rich salmon creates a powerful meal for hair regrowth. The healthy fats in both foods help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin E more effectively. Let me tell you about someone I worked with, an 82-year-old woman who came to me absolutely devastated about her thinning hair. She said her hair used to be her pride, thick and full, but over the past few years it had become so thin that she could see her scalp clearly when she looked in the mirror. She had tried expensive shampoos, special conditioners, and even considered buying a wig. After reviewing what she ate every day, I noticed she was consuming very little protein and almost no nuts because she thought they were too hard to chew. I introduced her to cashews, explaining they're actually the softest nut available, and taught her how to make the cashew smoothie and energy balls. Within 3 months, she called me excitedly to say that her hairdresser had noticed new baby hairs growing around her hairline. By 6 months, her hair had noticeably thickened, and she no longer felt self-conscious about going out without a hat. She now swears by her daily cashew smoothie and tells everyone she knows about it. Now let's talk about the second nut that can change everything for your hair. Pine nuts contain 6.6 milligrams of iron per 100 grams. To put that in perspective, adults need approximately 8 milligrams of iron daily. So pine nuts give you a significant portion of your daily requirement in just a small handful. But iron isn't the only reason pine nuts are so powerful. They're also rich in vitamin E and magnesium, two nutrients that work together synergistically to create the perfect environment for hair growth. The vitamin E in pine nuts acts as a protective shield for your hair follicles. It fights free radicals, those damaging molecules that attack hair cells and cause premature aging of your scalp. When you consume vitamin E regularly, it strengthens the hair shaft from within, prevents breakage, and adds a natural shine to your hair. It also helps seal moisture into each individual strand, which is especially important as we age because hair tends to become dry and brittle over time. This moisture retention keeps hair flexible and less prone to snapping when you brush or style it. Magnesium is equally important, and here's why. It plays a crucial role in protein synthesis. Since hair is made primarily of a protein called keratin, you absolutely need adequate magnesium to build strong, healthy hair. But magnesium does something else that most people don't know about. It helps regulate calcium deposits around the hair follicles. Too much calcium buildup can actually block follicles and prevent new hair from growing through. Additionally, magnesium improves blood circulation and reduces inflammation in the scalp. Both of these create optimal conditions for hair regrowth. Low magnesium levels have been directly linked to hair loss, and many people are deficient in this mineral without even knowing it. A comprehensive study published in the Archives of Dermatological Research in 2019 examined the role of micronutrients in hair loss among 200 participants. The researchers found that individuals with alopecia had significantly lower levels of magnesium and iron compared to those with healthy hair growth. The study concluded that supplementing with these minerals, either through diet or supplements, showed noticeable improvement in hair density and reduced shedding within 12 to 16 weeks. The researchers emphasized that dietary sources were preferable because they came with other synergistic nutrients that enhanced absorption. Let me share 3 delicious ways to incorporate pine nuts into your daily meals. The first is a classic pine nut pesto. Blend 2 cups of fresh basil leaves with half a cup of pine nuts, 3 cloves of garlic, half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. Season with salt and pepper to taste. You can toss this pesto with whole wheat pasta, spread it on whole grain toast, or use it as a marinade for chicken or fish. The healthy fats in the olive oil help your body absorb the vitamin E from the pine nuts more effectively. The second recipe is a Mediterranean pine nut salad. Toast a 1/4 cup of pine nuts in a dry skillet until they turn golden and become fragrant. Toss them with mixed greens, cherry tomatoes, cucumber slices, red onion, crumbled feta cheese, and a simple dressing made from lemon juice, olive oil, and dried oregano. This salad is light, refreshing, and packed with nutrients that support not just hair growth, but overall health. The vitamin C from the tomatoes and lemon also helps your body absorb the iron from the pine nuts better. The third recipe is honey roasted pine nuts. Mix half a cup of pine nuts with 1 teaspoon of honey and a pinch of sea salt. Spread them on a baking sheet and roast at 325 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes, stirring halfway through. These make an excellent snack and can also be sprinkled over yogurt or oatmeal for breakfast. I want to tell you about a 76-year-old retired teacher who came to me worried about his receding hairline. He said he had always had thick hair, but in recent years it had become noticeably thinner, especially at the temples. His diet was decent, but he rarely ate nuts because he found them bland and uninteresting. I introduced him to pine nuts and taught him how to make the honey-roasted version. He loved the sweet and savory flavor and started eating them as an afternoon snack. I also had him add the pesto to his weekly meal rotation. After 4 months, he noticed that his hair felt thicker when he ran his fingers through it, and his barber commented that there seemed to be more volume. By 8 months, the thinning at his temples had visibly improved, and he felt more confident about his appearance. He now keeps a jar of honey-roasted pine nuts in his kitchen at all times, and credits them with giving him his hair back. Now we come to the third nut that can dramatically improve your hair growth. Pistachios contain approximately 4 milligrams of iron per 100 grams, which is a significant contribution to your daily iron needs. But what makes pistachios truly exceptional for hair growth is their high content of vitamin B6 and copper. These are 2 nutrients that are absolutely critical for preventing hair loss and promoting new growth. Vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine, is essential for creating melanin, the pigment that gives your hair its natural color. But beyond color, B6 plays a vital role in improving oxygen flow to your scalp by helping produce hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen throughout your body. When your hair follicles receive adequate oxygen, they stay active and healthy, producing strong, thick strands. Vitamin B6 also helps your body metabolize protein more efficiently. Since hair is made of keratin, a type of protein, this means your body can actually use the protein you eat to build new hair more effectively. Additionally, B6 reduces stress hormones like cortisol, which is important because chronic stress is one of the leading causes of hair loss. Copper is equally important, and here's something most people don't realize. It activates enzymes that strengthen the connective tissue in your hair and scalp. Copper helps form disulfide bonds, which are the molecular connections that give hair its strength and elasticity. Without adequate copper, hair becomes weak, breaks easily, and grows more slowly. Copper also works alongside iron to form red blood cells, which means it enhances iron's effectiveness in delivering oxygen and nutrients to your hair follicles. Furthermore, copper has natural anti-inflammatory properties that soothe scalp conditions like dandruff and irritation, which can block follicles and prevent hair growth. A study published in the journal Biological Trace Element Research in 2013 examined trace mineral levels in 50 patients with premature hair graying and hair loss compared to a control group. The researchers found that those experiencing hair problems had significantly lower levels of copper and iron in their blood and hair samples. The study concluded that copper deficiency contributed not only to hair loss, but also to premature graying, and that restoring copper levels through diet led to noticeable improvements in hair thickness and color retention within 3 to 6 months. Let me share 3 simple and delicious ways to add pistachios to your daily routine. The first is a pistachio and cranberry trail mix. Combine 1 cup of shelled pistachios with half a cup of dried cranberries, a quarter cup of dark chocolate chips, and a quarter cup of pumpkin seeds. Mix everything together and store in an airtight container. Eat a small handful as a mid-morning or afternoon snack. This trail mix gives you sustained energy, satisfies sweet cravings naturally, and delivers a powerful combination of iron, copper, B vitamins, and antioxidants all at once. The second recipe is a creamy pistachio smoothie bowl. Blend half a cup of shelled pistachios with 1 frozen banana, half a cup of Greek yogurt, a quarter cup of unsweetened almond milk, and a teaspoon of honey. Pour the mixture into a bowl and top with fresh berries, sliced almonds, and a sprinkle of ground flaxseed. This smoothie bowl is not only visually beautiful, but also incredibly nourishing for your hair. The Greek yogurt adds extra protein, while the berries provide vitamin C, which helps your body absorb the iron from the pistachios more effectively. The third recipe is pistachio crusted chicken. Chop 3/4 of a cup of shelled pistachios and mix with 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, minced garlic, and fresh thyme. Coat chicken breasts with this mixture and bake at 375 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes until golden and cooked through. The combination of protein-rich chicken with nutrient-dense pistachios creates a complete meal that supports hair growth from multiple angles. Serve it with roasted vegetables or a fresh salad for a balanced dinner. I want to tell you about a 68-year-old retired nurse who came to me heartbroken about her thinning hair. She said she had always taken pride in her appearance, but over the past 2 years, her hair had become so thin that she avoided social gatherings and felt embarrassed in public. She had tried multiple hair growth shampoos and even considered hair extensions, but nothing seemed to work. When I reviewed her diet, I noticed she was eating very little in terms of nuts and seeds. I introduced her to pistachios and taught her how to make the trail mix and smoothie bowl. She loved how easy and convenient they were to prepare and eat. Within 2 months, she called me to say that her hair felt less brittle and seemed to be shedding less when she brushed it. By 5 months, she noticed visible regrowth around her hairline and crown area. Her hairdresser was amazed at the transformation and asked what she had been doing differently. She now eats pistachios every single day and has regained her confidence. She recently told me that she feels like herself again and no longer hides from cameras or social events. Now, before you rush out to buy cashews, pine nuts, and pistachios, I need to warn you about something incredibly important. These nuts won't do much for your hair growth if you keep eating the next 2 foods I'm about to discuss. I've seen this happen time and time again. I had a patient who religiously ate cashews and pistachios every single day for 4 months, but she saw absolutely no improvement in her hair loss. She was frustrated and ready to give up until we discovered she was still consuming these 2 harmful foods regularly. The moment she stopped eating them and continued with her iron-rich nuts, her hair began growing back within 6 weeks. Another patient experienced the exact same thing. He did everything right nutritionally, but his hair kept falling out until we identified and eliminated these 2 culprits from his diet. So pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you next, because this information could be the difference between success and failure in your hair regrowth journey. The first food that's destroying your hair is sugar. Excessive sugar consumption is one of the most damaging things you can do to your hair, and most people don't realize how much sugar they're consuming daily. It's hidden in so many foods that seem innocent. When you eat too much sugar, it causes a spike in insulin levels, which triggers your body to produce more androgens, particularly something called DHT or dihydrotestosterone. DHT is a hormone that shrinks hair follicles, making them weaker and unable to produce strong, healthy hair. Over time, these shrunken follicles stop producing hair altogether, leading to permanent baldness in those areas. Sugar also causes inflammation throughout your entire body, including your scalp. This chronic inflammation damages hair follicles, disrupts the hair growth cycle, and forces hair into the shedding phase prematurely. Additionally, sugar interferes with your body's ability to absorb essential nutrients like iron, zinc, and B vitamins. These are the very nutrients you need for hair growth. Even if you're eating all the right foods like cashews, pine nuts, and pistachios, the sugar you're consuming is blocking your body from using those nutrients effectively. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. A study published in the journal PLOS One in 2022 examined the dietary patterns of over 1,000 men aged 18 to 45 and found a strong correlation between high sugar intake and male pattern baldness. Men who consumed sugary drinks, desserts, and processed foods regularly were significantly more likely to experience severe hair loss compared to those who limited their sugar intake. The researchers concluded that reducing sugar consumption could slow down or even reverse hair loss in many cases. So what should you replace sugar with? Use natural sweeteners like raw honey, pure maple syrup, or dates in moderation. These options contain minerals and antioxidants that support hair health rather than destroy it. Replace sugary snacks with fresh fruits like berries, apples, and oranges, which provide natural sweetness along with vitamins and fiber. Replace sodas and sweetened beverages with water, herbal teas, or infused water with lemon and cucumber. Replace store-bought desserts with homemade treats, sweetened with mashed bananas or unsweetened applesauce. The key is to retrain your taste buds to enjoy natural sweetness, rather than the artificial concentrated sweetness of processed sugar. The second food that's sabotaging your hair growth is ultra-processed foods. These are manufactured products that contain ingredients you would never find in a home kitchen. Things like hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, preservatives, emulsifiers, and chemical additives. These foods include packaged snacks, frozen meals, instant noodles, processed meats like hot dogs and deli meats, packaged breads with long shelf lives, sugary cereals, and fast food. These foods are designed for convenience and long shelf life, not for your health, and they are absolutely devastating to your hair. Ultra-processed foods are loaded with trans fats and hydrogenated oils that clog your arteries and reduce blood flow to your scalp. When blood flow to your hair follicles is restricted, they receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients, which causes hair to grow slowly, become brittle, and eventually fall out. These foods also contain excessive amounts of sodium, which dehydrates your body and scalp, making your hair dry, weak, and prone to breakage. The chemical additives and preservatives in ultra-processed foods trigger systemic inflammation throughout your body, including inflammation in your scalp that damages hair follicles and disrupts the natural hair growth cycle. Additionally, ultra-processed foods are nutritionally empty. They provide calories but almost no vitamins, minerals, or protein that your body needs to build strong hair. When you fill up on these foods, you're displacing nutrient-dense whole foods from your diet, creating deficiencies in iron, zinc, biotin, and other essential nutrients. Your body simply cannot build healthy hair from processed junk. A groundbreaking study published in the British Medical Journal in 2024 followed over 200,000 participants for 28 years and found that high consumption of ultra-processed foods was associated with increased markers of inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which are directly linked to hair loss and premature aging. The study also found that people who consumed the most ultra-processed foods had significantly lower levels of essential nutrients in their blood, including iron, magnesium, and B vitamins. So what should you replace ultra-processed foods with? Replace packaged snacks with whole foods like nuts, fresh fruit, vegetable sticks with hummus, or homemade energy balls. Replace frozen meals with batch-cooked homemade meals that you can freeze yourself using fresh ingredients like lean proteins, whole grains, and vegetables. Replace processed meats with fresh cuts of chicken, fish, turkey, or plant-based proteins like beans and lentils. Replace sugary cereals with steel-cut oats, whole grain toast with nut butter, or Greek yogurt with fresh berries. Replace instant noodles with whole grain pasta or zucchini noodles topped with homemade sauce. The goal is to eat foods that come directly from nature with minimal processing and maximum nutrition. I want to be completely honest with you. If you keep eating sugar and ultra-processed foods while trying to add these beneficial nuts to your diet, you're going to be disappointed with your results. It's like trying to fill a bathtub while the drain is open. You might see some small improvements, but you'll never achieve the dramatic hair regrowth you're looking for. But if you eliminate or significantly reduce these two harmful foods, while consistently eating cashews, pine nuts, and pistachios, you're going to see remarkable changes. Your hair will start feeling thicker and stronger. You'll notice less hair falling out when you brush or shower. New baby hairs will start appearing around your hairline and crown. Your existing hair will become shinier and more resilient. And over the course of several months, you'll see visible regrowth in areas that had been thinning or balding. The choice is yours. You can continue eating the same way you've been eating and hope for different results, or you can make these simple but powerful changes starting today. Add cashews, pine nuts, and pistachios to your daily routine using the recipes I've shared with you. Cut out or dramatically reduce your sugar intake by replacing it with natural sweeteners and whole fruits. Eliminate ultra-processed foods and replace them with whole, natural foods that actually nourish your body. If you do these 3 things consistently for the next 3 to 6 months, I promise you will see a difference in your hair. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. Your hair follicles need time to heal, strengthen, and begin producing healthy hair again. But with the right nutrients and by eliminating the foods that are sabotaging your efforts, you're giving your body everything it needs to succeed. Your hair deserves this investment. Your confidence deserves this investment. And you deserve to feel good about yourself when you look in the mirror.